that I can clearly convey to you how I feel. Some days are pretty close to, okay, not the whole day. Some hours, or maybe even just an hour. So I might have 1 hour where it seems like it's just about perfect. I have enough energy and I have the creativity to actually create something good. I have the energy and everything and the clarity of mind and the focus to create something good, to create a good video, to do a specific amount of good work, to know what is going on in the world, to function at 89%, because it's never 100%. But there are some days that are that clear, that are that well, or no, some hours. There will be some times in the meeting at work in the morning where I will sound smarter than everybody else in the room. And it's not just to me. There are people in the room that say, wow, Joe, you were totally on your game today. And they will be like just completely awed and enamored at the things that I will say, the quotes that I come up with, all of those types of stuff will happen that morning. But immediately, as soon as I spit out one of those quotes and somebody recognizes it, somebody realizes that, I go, oh fuck, holy shit. If I'm that good, they're gonna expect me to be like this all the time, so I better back it off a little bit. I better pull some punches right now, because yes, I feel like I could actually come out and just be that good right there in that moment. But I won't have that moment again. It might be a week, it might be a month before I will feel that good again. And then some days I will go through just weeks of utter depression, where it feels like nothing's interesting, everything is boring. Maybe it's not weeks, okay? Let's tone it down just a little bit. It might be like 3 or 4 day stretch, okay? Like a 3 or 4 day stretch where nothing's interesting, everything's boring, and it'll just be like, you know, it's all I can do just to go to work and do the bare minimum that life requires of me during those days. And then all of a sudden, bing, I get an entire day where everything feels pretty good. Now, I'm not good enough that I could come up with a zinger, but I'm good enough that I can get through the day. It feels pretty good. You know, this might go on for a week or two, and then boom, it's all the way back down again. And then all of a sudden, wow, I could make a movie that would be better than anything that Disney has ever done in their entire career. And the only thing I can say, and I would say somebody other than Disney right now, but that's the only thing that is coming to mind right now. DreamWorks, whatever. And if I could actually keep up that energy for long enough to create that thing, then I could create it. There are some days when I can't accomplish anything. Then there are some days that I know that if I just work on it, if I coach myself up, I might actually be able to do something like clean out my car. Like, let's for example just take cleaning out the car as a point, because I should have started with that. I should have started cleaning out the car, because on Saturday I actually got my car cleaned out. You have to understand that I drive a minivan, and that I had every single row of the minivan filled with just miscellaneous junk. Well, it's actually not junk. It's stuff that I sometimes might think that I would need. So I'm basically pack ratting or hoarding in my van, because there's all this stuff that I really think that I might need. But my girlfriend's been bugging me to take this pile of scrap metal to the scrap metal yard. And she's like, we have to go through this process, so we try to put insurance on this old truck that we have, but that costs too much. So I'm finally just deciding that I'm gonna have to do it with my van. So I get through the point of doing it with my van. So I go through this process, I get myself amped up enough to clean out my van. I have not been able to clean out my van for might be a year. My van has just been this cluttered, utter mess of just miscellaneous junk. I've been trying to work through it with my therapist to actually get my van cleaned out. Not happened. So Saturday, some miracle, I actually got my van completely cleaned out, down to detailing and wiping the dashboard, down to vacuuming out. All of the seats are folded down, moved out. We laid a mattress down in the back of the van so we could lay down and sleep in the back of the van. But before that, I actually managed to get all of that scrap metal. So I filled my van from floor to ceiling with 500 pounds of scrap metal and hauled the scrap metal and got that done. So it was like, it was some crazy thing where I actually got into the mood where I could get that done. And I actually had to also tune myself, get myself into some sort of a mode where every time that something goes slightly wrong, like a piece of scrap metal falls off and lands on the ground, that I have to just get into it. I feel like I have to be so mean and just cuss at it, yell it out, and then pick it back up and throw it back in the van. As I'm cleaning out my van, I managed to find a couple of laptops. These are old laptops. They're 10 years old. They've been sitting in my van since the time that they got expired. So, because someday I think I might use them for something. Even though none of them even work, they're 10 years old, they're completely obsolete. They might absolutely actually be usable for something. But, so someday I'm gonna like take them apart and make a video of taking everything apart or whatever, or get the magnets out of the hard drive and use those for something. So I just stick them in my van somewhere and leave them somewhere instead of throwing them away like I should. Well, when I'm cleaning my van out and I find them, I get so pissed off at them that I chuck them across the yard. And then I calmly walk over there and put them somewhere where I can stick them somewhere else. They'll be stored forever and I won't ever go back to them again. So it's stuff like that. So I have to and if I'm gonna clean out my van, I have to go through this process. I have to get angry at things. And being angry like that doesn't feel good. So as I'm here talking to you, asking you for maybe a drug or something that might fix all of this, I'm afraid that you're gonna give me a drug that I will never, ever have those moments where I'm actually able to say something that's really amazing. Where I can actually, because there's sometimes where I can make a video that'll actually get hundreds of thousands of views when it all comes together, when I'm able to focus on those days. But if you give me this drug, I might never have that. I'll just be completely like, I'll always be a zombie, or I'll always be just mundane, normal person Joe. Or you'll give me a drug which will flip it the other way and I'll be completely always wound up and zinged and all, and be angry and irritable all the time. I'm afraid of that. Or I'm afraid that you're gonna give me a drug that's gonna make me totally depressed. And I don't want to experience any of those feelings at any time. I go way back to when I had the Ritalin, okay? Now that was different because I was actually dealing with lots of anxiety. So normally if I feel like all this wound up, then I might hyper-focus on my heartbeat, or I might hyper-focus on the way I'm breathing, or I might hyper-focus on the fact that I feel like I'm out of breath. And then I would suddenly go, oh, well shit, your heart's going 120 beats per minute, which we both know if we start thinking rationally is really not that fast. But especially if I'm rattling on like I am right now, and I'm like excited like I am right now, but my brain might just focus on that, it might focus on that heartbeat, and it might go, shit, I'm having a heart attack, or something else is going wrong. So, and right now I'm having, just to go through this monologue right here, I'm really having to just work through things in my brain 100 miles an hour, not to get myself freaked out, because I'm gonna have to go to work and I'm gonna have to calm down, I have to get off of this monologue pretty soon. But I'm actually kind of going wound up on here so that I can get all of this out, so that I can remember it all, or something like that. And my jaw's hurting because I'm talking so much right now. And if my jaw hurts, that's some radial thing that's like going through my chest and my jaw. Could be a heart attack. Oh no. But anyways, let's go on. Let's continue here just so we can get through this. Okay, back when I was taking Ritalin, I didn't have the thought process to go through the fact that, okay, just because my heart is beating, I'm not having a heart attack. Or just because my jaw hurts, or whatever, or just, you know, you put together 2 or 3 symptoms that I would think I'm having a heart attack. But now I might actually be good enough at it, because I haven't driven myself to the urgent care for a while, because you see, now that I've gone through all of this, I've had to not focus on driving. You know, occasionally I'm checking down the gun going like 76, so I'm not watching that, so I'm afraid I might get a speeding ticket. But anyways, we're back to this. Let's go back to the Ritalin. I think maybe I can handle Ritalin now, because it might help me focus, and I might be able to, if I do start thinking about my heart rate, at least now I've got to the point where I've calmed myself down a little bit and I'm not thinking that I'm having a heart attack. If my heart just gets a little out of whack, I'm able to talk myself through it. So maybe I can handle Ritalin, but I'm actually thinking there might be something better than Ritalin, but because last time I talked to you, we just talked about Ritalin, so you just, okay, here's some Ritalin, you know, so, but maybe Ritalin's the best thing. I don't want to discount it, because it actually did help me a lot some of those days back then. If I think back to when I had Ritalin, I think I had a lot more of those days where I was feeling good, I was working out some zingers, and I wasn't that irritated. I just also had some days where I actually was where I was having panic attacks, okay? But I was having panic attacks before I ever did the Ritalin. So I don't think it's the Ritalin that was making me have the panic attacks. I just think that my brain said that it was. So, and so when I stopped doing the Ritalin, I also stopped doing caffeine and alcohol. I wasn't doing that much alcohol back then anyways, but I stopped doing caffeine and nicotine and Ritalin all at the same time. And that was pretty miserable. But anyways, so I guess that's it, you know, and it's not caffeine that makes me all wound up like this, because I can be wound like this. Some days I'm wound up like this if I don't have any caffeine. The caffeine will help a little bit sometimes, but and then there's some days when I'm super depressed and I'm bored and everything just feels like so mundane, and I can be drinking more caffeine those days and nothing works. It's just like, and I hate those days. And I'd much rather have a manic day when I'm having a panic attack than I would have a day when I am bored. Those days are that miserable. So I can definitely throw that in there.